All right, it is 11:15, so it's time to get started. I am Misha Daniel. I work in innovative learning with the wonderful Shelley Smallwood and actually Glenn Smallwood. He is our mediator today. We thank you so much for being here, Mr. Smallwood. We're here to talk about Google Sites, and I know a lot of people out there are like, okay, what's the deal with Google Sites and the showcasing your classroom thing? And I just want you to think about something. Right now, we don't have the ability to put up posters. I mean, we could do that behind ourselves, I guess, in our homes as we are remotely trying to teach, but we don't have that option of showcasing a lot of our student work and being able to display that in different ways. But with Google Sites, we can do that. Now, here's a little caveat about Google Sites before I get started here. We know that anything that we have in our Google Drive is only shareable within the district, which makes it pretty safe for our students and for us. I know it's kind of a pain if this is something that we want to share out with parents. So here's the little workaround for sharing it out with your parents. If your parents are logging in right alongside the student or with the student account, they'll be able to see the Google Sites because they'll have access to it. The site itself, they'll be able to see, but any of the documents and things that you put into that site, they may not see, right? So that's where that the little disclaimer comes in. The reason that they did that was because we wanted to make sure that we weren't sharing a lot of stuff outside of our district, and then plus it does keep our students safer. So we're going to start at the very beginning. This is going to be a very basic. We're going to go through the steps of creating a Google site and publishing a Google site and adding a lot of stuff to our Google site. Now you're saying, okay, so again, how's this relating to my classroom? This Google site could become part of your virtual classroom. Yes, we have Google Classroom, and that's great for our assignments, for pushing stuff out to our students, but for displaying stuff and celebrating all kinds of things that our students are doing. And right now, a celebration, you have some of us get a little drive by here and there if it's somebody's birthday, or there's, we had a graduation across the street from us not that long ago. But, we want to be able to celebrate our kids, and a great way for us of holding hands with each other and being a little more connected would be to have like a virtual classroom using Google Sites. So I'm going to go ahead and start presenting. And I'm going to actually take you through the process of creating a Google site. Now, if you want to follow along, you're more than welcome to. That's going to be your call. Just remember that I'm going to be displaying stuff here up on the screen. So but I know some people like to do it as we are all doing together, and that's perfectly fine if that's what you like to do. So I'm just going to go in here and share out my Google Drive, my really messy Google Drive that I have. Okay, so here I'm in my Google Drive, and this is where you're going to find Google Sites. Now, if I go up here to the apps launcher and I click on Google Sites there, it's going to take me to the old version of Google Sites. They haven't removed it yet. I don't know why, but they haven't, and that's going to make you very annoyed. So don't go there if you want to get to Google Sites. To get to Google Sites, you want to click on the new button right here. And you're going to want to go down to More, and there you'll see Google Sites right there. Oh, I'm not showing my screen, am I? I apologize. I just noticed that. Let me try that again.
No, we can see your screen.
Let me go back.
I can see your screen.
You can
yes,
see?
ma'am. And guys,
okay.
at the very first slide, they asked you to turn your cameras off because Misha's having some a lag time thing there, and sometimes if we all have our cameras on, you're gonna crash this. So if you could like do that, so Misha has the floor and we don't have issues.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, you can all see my screen now. Okay, so here's my front page of my Google site. When I open up a Google site, this is what I see. Okay, so now I can start adding stuff to this. Now, this is your page title. Some people like to just put an image up there. Maybe you have an image that already has, like, Mrs. Daniel's classroom or something like that on it. I can put an image in here. And how do I do that? Right here. Change the image. I can upload an image from my desktop, or I can select an image. I'm going to go ahead and just select one because they have a lot already in here that are built in. And I'm going to tell you right up here, it says that you can search and you can look through all of these different things. The one you want to stay away from is the URL. And let me tell you why. If you go to a URL, you go to a website and you find this really awesome picture and you put it on your website, even though it's protected in Isleta, somebody may get wind of it that you're using their picture. You didn't ask permission to use it, and you don't want to do that, because also one day they may just take down their site and take down the picture, and then you don't have a picture. So stay away from the URL. I totally would. I wouldn't use that one. I'm just going to use something out of the gallery here. So I'm going to go ahead and click right here and click select, and it's going to put that in the background for my my header. And you see it kind of put it in there. And right here it's saying adjusting for readability. It may darken the image a little bit. It doesn't look like it dark. Up there it goes. You see how kind of darkened it? And I want the bright picture. So if I click on this, you see how it brightened up? And that's because it's for a readability. I turn the readability off because I want a bright picture. If I want, I can just change the title right in here. Now, if I'm using an image that already has my title on it, I don't need to have this. And I can click the little trash can and delete. But I'm going to go ahead and put my new web page. Okay, this is just for my title for today. Okay, so how did I get my image? I went in here to change image, and I selected an image from the gallery. Now, there's lots of places that you can select images from. Now, this is a specific size. It's a specific width and height. So if when you put a picture in there, it may or may not be cropped kind of funny. And so you might have to use, they have templates online, and that's usually where I have one that I have in my Google Drive now. And what I did was I searched for Google site heading template, and then I just downloaded it, and then I put an image in there, and I make sure that because it has the exact specifications for it, and then I just put the picture in there, and then then I can put it right here into my web page right here. So that might be something to think about if you want to put specific images in there. If this is the first time you're using Google Sites and you want to use the gallery has really nice pictures in it, and they do look pretty polished. I just used one that was kind of like a generic one for today. Okay. Down here is where I'm going to start to put stuff. And I want you to notice over here. This is a lot of the stuff that we can put in there. It's how the layout might look and where I can get my stuff. I can do that over here on this side, and there's a whole bunch of things I can put in here. Or I can just click in here, double click, and it's going to give me just a few options in here. I can start with a text box. I can upload something from my computer, whether it be images or video or whatever. I can add images straight into this white space, and of course it's going to give me those options of using my Google Drive and other things like that. And here's my Google Drive down here. And I can also embed. Now, embed means adding code. So if you're a coder, you can add some embed code, and there's lots of the applications that we have, like Flipgrid and like Nearpod, and certain applications that have an embed code, and you just copy that code that they give you, and then you just pop it in here, and it's going to look like you spent all this time putting it straight into your Google site. And we can look at that one a little bit later, because that's more of an advanced one. But we're going to start here with looking at text. And you're going to see that these same options are also right up here. Okay, so under the insert, you have these options here, or if you double click in the white space, you will also get those options. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can start adding content to your page. I'm just going to add some text, and it's going to give me a little, like a long box where I can start typing. And I'm just going to say start typing, right? And this is what they call normal text. Okay. I can bold it. I can italicize it. I can change if it's, where it's justified. I can add I can make it a link if I want to. I can trash it if I want to. But let's say I don't want it to be normal text. There's a disclosure arrow. I can make it a title, and it's going to make it bigger. I can make it a heading. It'll make it a little bit smaller, and a subheading is even a little bit smaller, or the normal text. Now, you don't get a whole lot of options under text. Okay, but I'm going to show you another way that you can work around that, because you can add like Google Docs that have where you'll be able to change the text, and you can put those in here as well in case you need to give out information for different things. So, but for just regular text, I mean, it does have a few options, but not an exorbitant amount of options. Okay. Now, if I wanted to bold this, like I said, I'm going to bold it. Okay. I can also have it as a link, and it's very easy to add a link. It'll just show you what you're going to use for your link. So start typing is going to be a link, and then I just make sure I put the URL in here, whatever that is. That's the web address, and then this apply right here will light up. And then you click it, and then it will apply it to the text. And so then now the text will be a live link. Okay. So that's pretty easy for text. If I don't want that text there anymore, of course, I can just trash it. You'll see that little trash can everywhere. And you'll see this is really difficult in creating some text here. But what's this one? Section background. Right now we have a regular background. It's white. I can use it as an emphasis background, and you'll notice it kind of changed it to like a gray color. Or I can do the emphasis 2, which makes it like a dark color. But what if I don't want that color? We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Let's just go through the other options. And I can also add an image. Now, again, you got to remember that it's going to add an image to this entire piece here. So you need to think about the width of your image. And, is it going to stretch it out? Is it only going to give me just a little bit? Am I only going to see, if it's an image like of my kids, am I only going to see their eyes because of the width of this particular piece here? So you have to kind of think about those things when you add images. But try it. If it doesn't work, just take it out. It's not very difficult at all. Okay. And so here's your options for this particular little bit here. And every time that I add a piece, it's going to add another piece to this. Now, yes, I could make this longer. You see how I did that? I just pushed the return, and now I have a whole lot of space in here. Now, this is going to be all like text, so I can't put anything over the top of it. It's just going to be empty like that. So you have to think about that too. Now, if I want to make this an image, I can make this a nice large image by doing that. So there's like a workaround for all kinds of things that we want. But what if I don't want this color in here? What if I want to change the color of this background? Is there a way to do that? Because I mean, that's not the color that I want. Now, you might not be able to get the exact color that you want, but you can change it, because this is based off of theme. And if you look right over here, you're going to see themes. Right now, we're using the simple theme. Okay, and you'll see that the check mark is right here. That's the same color, right? So if I click here, ew, that's horrible. Let me change that. I'm going to change it to the green. Now I can change it to a number of colors here, and you're going to see that it's got like a little can here, which means I'm going to be able to personalize this color. If I get a hex number right here, I can actually change the color of this, and I can match something else if I want to. If I want to get real matchy, as Shelley likes to say, you can do that as well. Okay, that's getting a little more advanced, but some people are really big on the color scheme of their site, or anything that they're putting online. So that's going to be up to you. Now, this is just the first theme here. Okay. All right, there's an Aristotle theme, and you can just go through them, and you're going to see that it changed the background again based on the theme. All right, so I can change it to any of these colors, and again, I have that ability to add the hex color if I like. And what it also does is it changes the font style, because I don't have the ability to change it to what I
Misha, we lost your audio.
and then under your font style, you have usually you have a modern, classic, or bold or light. So, and that goes on all of them. And it's not going to give you an option to change what it looks like. It's just going to change like the weight of it, whether it's bolded or light, or So you don't again, you don't have a super amount of options here, but you do have some, and you can customize the colors. So that's always a good thing. I'm going to go back to simple just because my eyes were hurting there for a second. So that's how you can build just a small section of your site. Okay, but what about like adding like stuff to your site? Okay, so if I go back to insert, okay, first of all, I can choose a layout that I like. If I want a picture and some text, maybe it's one of my kids' birthday in the classroom, and I would like to highlight that student. Now we know even though it's on the web and even though it's kind of behind a closed door, if it was Eric's birthday, I wouldn't want to use Eric Daniel, because then everybody knows who Eric Daniel is, and he knows he's in my classroom. So I might just want to say it's Eric's birthday, and that would be the end of it. I wouldn't want to give a last name there, because we don't want to do pictures with names, obviously. Or you could say it's Mr. Daniel's birthday, because Eric, or it's Miss Daniel's birthday if it's Alexa, whatever it may be. So there's some different ways you can do that, but you can have a picture. You can have one picture here. Here's where your placeholder. You can put a picture in here, and then you can type some text in here, and you can even adjust this. There's little dots up there. So if I wanted to, I can kind of move this up over the top like that, and I can move stuff kind of just about anywhere. I just kind of have to make sure I'm looking at my little blue dots. As you see the little blue dots, little blue handles, as I call them. If depending on what your blue handles are around, it's going to depend on what you're moving. Now you notice that both of these were together. And you see the first how the box kind of goes around the whole thing. So if I move it, it's moving both pieces together. But if I do another click, the box is no longer on the top, it's only on the bottom. Or if I click on the top, then it's only on the top. Okay. So once again, you kind of have to look at your handles. You have to look at your boxes in order to decide what you're moving, if you want to move it, or if you're not even sure you want that in there anymore, you just hit the trash can and it goes away, right? And I'm going to go ahead and just remove that whole piece there. So that's this layout here. One picture with some text. You can do two pictures with some text. Okay, you can do two pictures and a large picture, small pictures and large pictures. Now you don't have to use these templates. You can actually just put pictures in here. You don't have to use these, but they're here just to serve as, because it's kind of formatted already for you. So if this is, again, your first time using sites, you might want to think about some of these layouts. There's one with 4 pictures with text underneath each picture. The choice is yours. And again, you just have to kind of get in there and play with it and look and see what's going to work for you. Okay, so that's under your layouts, and that's the first thing that you'll see under the insert, right? Here's your layouts. All right, then you've got some collapsible text, and when you think about collapsible text, you think there's some writing, right? And when you click on it, then something else opens up, right? Yes and no. It's not the most efficient thing. They're still working on this one. I find that this one's a little clunky, so I don't like to really use it yet. I want to wait till it comes a little more proficient. So I'm going to show it to you. So if I put some text here, right, and then I say this is the subtext, okay, and you'll just see the text, and when you click on it, then you see the subtext. You can't add any images right now. You can only add text to it. So if you had like an answer choice here or something, and then you had something underneath that, it's kind of hidden when you first see it, right? So there's the text, and there's a little arrow, and then this is the text that's underneath, right? So it's okay. It's not
And Misha, your audio is kind of breaking up a little bit, going away.
Yes. Do we have a question? No.
Your audio was in and out again.
Oh, is it in and out? Are we good now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. All right. You have what's called an image carousel. And what this does is you put in some, if I click on it, you put in your pictures. Okay. So if I click here on the plus sign, I can upload a picture or I can select an image, of course, from my Google Drive or my Google Photos. And then I add image. And then what happens is it flips through those images, and it flips through them every couple of seconds. So like if you had some pictures of your students, or you had pictures of, something that you did when we were still all together at one time, you can actually put them in here and have a carousel going, or you have them take pictures while they're at home, and maybe they're cooking together, maybe they're cooking with mom and dad, or they're helping out in the backyard, or they've got a picture of their best buddy, their dog or their cat. You can put those in here as well. I'm trying to think of things that we're doing at home right now where you would want to use this particular tool, because I think it's always great to have pictures, and again, especially in this remote time, we're trying to find ways to connect to one another. Okay. All right, we have a button here, and what the button does is you name the button. So if I put on here Google Doc, we'll just say, right? And then what I have to do is I have to get the link for that. So let me just get one from this document that's up here. Let me just do a real quick click. I'm on a different tab right now. Now let me get back here. Let me just put it in there. And I just click insert. And you'll see right here, this is my button. And you see that my button matches this up here because it's using the same, it's going to use the same theme, of course. Now, if I don't want it filled, I can make it outlined. So it's not filled. But then it's kind of like, okay, but now I can change the background maybe. So where it looks like that if I want to, or with the emphasis if I want to, where it's not filled. I personally like to have them filled, but it's up to you. And so if I were to publish, when I would click on this button, it would take me to the agenda that we all have come to know today. I took the link off of the agenda and I put it in here. So you could have buttons for different pages if you wanted to off of a front page. You also have a navigation either at the top or on the side that we'll get to in just a minute. You could have buttons that take them to different websites. Maybe you have one that takes them to I hate to use this one, but like iStation, or you have one that takes them to Nearpod, or you have one that takes them to Flipgrid, just the main page of that, where then they can put the codes in and get into whatever it is that you're asking them to get into. So you can have buttons for anything, and again, it will just take them to a URL. Now this one's going to just as a document, so I could have one even go to a Google slide or a Google Draw, or maybe we have a spreadsheet we're all working off together. So you can use buttons for anything. And again, it's so hard to trash. You just click the little trash can and it goes away. So you can just add stuff and see if you like it, and then take it away really, really easily. There's no coding. Everything is pretty much drag and drop. We've got dividers you can put in here, a placeholder. Now the placeholder are what these are up here with the pictures with the plus sign in them. So you can put a placeholder for something. Maybe you're going to put a picture in there, and you add a placeholder for it, and then that way later on that picture needs to go in there. I don't really use the placeholder that much, because if I'm building a page, I already kind of know what I want on the page, so I don't use it, but some people might. YouTube videos, yes, you can add YouTube videos straight in here. It will be embedded within the site. Calendars. Now this calendar will work with Google Calendars. It's not going to work with our calendar that we use in Outlook, but you can use the Google Calendar. Think about this now. Your Google Classroom has a calendar associated with it that you can find in your Google Calendars. You can pull that calendar, put it here on your website, and it will list all of the assignments that are coming up for your students. So maybe another reminder, hey, we've got things that are coming up. Don't forget, you're supposed to give me your book cover. I want that recipe that you're working on with your mom. I want that data of you walking your dog outside, whatever it might be. You can have that calendar in there. Okay. You can add maps. So you can add Google Maps to this. You put a location, you get a map, and you can pop that right into here as well. Of course, docs, slides, sheets, all of this stuff, of course, comes straight out of your Google Drive. What I really like are the charts. So if I've made a chart in a Google sheet with data, and I put that chart in here, if I change the data on the Google Sheet, the data on my website changes. Think about that. Think about how powerful that would be. You don't have to go back and change this. You don't have to go back and change your website. All you're doing is changing the data on the spreadsheet, and it will change here. So for example, if I put a chart in here, and let me see if it'll bring up the chart that I have in my on my Google form that I was sharing earlier this morning, and it was this one. Okay, because you see I do have a chart here that's associated with it. I click insert, and it says, okay, is this the chart that you want right here? Say yes, and I click add, and it's adding my chart in there. Give it a second. There it is. I can stretch it out if I want to. I want to make it nice and big for everybody to see how much I'm not walking. And there's my chart. I can kind of center it if I want to. See how I'm just dragging and dropping. I'm just moving things around. Now this chart will change as I add data on my form, on my Google Sheet. If I add another date on there, the date will be added here. If I go back and I change any of these bars will change because it's live, and it makes it look like, wow, you're really on top of things, Mrs. Daniel. You're keeping track of that data sheet. And it's just I'm working off the spreadsheet. I don't have to worry about this anymore once it's in here. Kind of a nice feature. So something else to think about, if you're looking at classroom data, you can put a chart in here, and boom, you just have to change the data on the spreadsheet, not here. Okay. All right, so we have one page, but how do we add more pages? Pages. Okay. Right now we have a home page, right? And you don't want to change the name where it says home. Okay. Some people, they get in here and they get, you know what, I'm going to change this. I'm going to make this say Mrs. Daniel's page. If you change this, then it's going to change the address of the website and it won't work anymore. So I say leave this alone. But to add a page, there's the plus sign, and it says new page. So I add a new page, and then I just name that new page. I'm going to call this one page 1 because I'm just so original today. You see it put the title in there already for me, and I'm on the page 1, and now I can add things to this page. And you'll notice that it put it right underneath the home page, right? And if I add more pages, they will be stacked here. But what if I want a page, and you'll see here we have home and we have page 1. What if I wanted a page 1.5? So here where it says page 1, click here. Okay, and I can add a subpage. I can add that here, or, which is the easiest way to do it with the menu, or I can add a page and call this one page 1.5. Click done. You see it puts it here, but I can just drag it and I just kind of put it underneath there. And now it's underneath page 1. Did you see how I did? I just drug it. But I can actually click on the 3 dots, which I always say something awesome in there, or I can do it from the page at the bottom. There's 2 different ways to do it. Now notice what happened here. In my navigation, here's my home page, here's page 1, and you'll see from the little drop down arrow, the disclosure arrow, that there's a page 1.5 under there. So I can have a whole menu just under page 1. I can have all these pages that are under page 1. So I don't necessarily have to have a whole mess of pages up here. I can actually, I can change them. Now what if I don't want page 1 to be shown up here? That one's like a page I don't want anybody to see. That's a page that you're only going to be able to get to through a button or something. I don't want anybody to see it. Watch this. There's 3 dots. I click on it. Hide from navigation. Now watch what happens. Did you see that? It's not even showing the home page because there's only one page. It doesn't need any navigation for the one page. It put a little line through this one and a little line through this one because this one's connected. These two are connected. So it says, nope, I'm hiding both of them. So it hid them. They're still there. I could still publish them. We could still get to them if you have a link to this page. But the home page is still there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in navigation so we'll be able to see it at the top again. Okay. And you see what happened here when I said navigation, I said, yes, put it back in navigation, but then it didn't put this one in navigation. I actually have to do each page individually if I want them back in navigation because it's making sure that that you want it to be seen. So now we have the home page again because we have more than one page up here now. Page 1 and there's page 1.5, these 2 pages here. So how do we add a page? Plus sign, add a page. And I'm going to put this one page 2. Wait a minute. Now page 2 is underneath page 1. So I don't want it to go page 1, page 1.5, and then 2 in the same one. I don't want that to happen. I don't want page 2 here. I want it to be out with like page 1. So if I click on it and I hold it and I drag it out. And now look at that. There's page 1 and page 2. There's everything in Google Sites is pretty much drag and drop. And I need to stop because I want to make sure are there any questions at this point? And I know we only have a certain amount of time. I think we're down to about 13 minutes. So I want to make sure I get to everything, but if there are any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any right now.
Okay, that's fine. I just realized that I've just kind of been rambling on, and I want to make sure that I do get to those questions if there's any questions. Okay, so this is the edit view right here, what we're seeing here. Okay, so I want to see what this looks like when it's actually really published and it's out there for the world to see, or for the people in Isleta to see, I should say. Up here at the top, you'll have this little, it looks like a computer and a cell phone together. That's the preview. So I'm going to click on that. And this is what people who will see my site will see, because they're not going to see the edit version. That's only for me because I'm the one who's editing it. But this is the way my visitors will see the page. And I can go to page 1. Right? And I can go home. And there's my home page. Those color schemes are not so great. Now, when I'm ready to get out of the edit or to get out of the preview page, I just click on the X right down here. If I want to see what it looks like on a phone, I can just click here and it's going to show me what it's going to look like on a phone, whether I'm holding that phone, vertically or horizontally. It'll show me both. And then again, it'll show me what it looks like on the computer, on a laptop, so to speak. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the X. Take me back to my edit form. Okay. Now, you'll notice that on each page, it's giving me that same image, right? That's kind of like by default because it figures, well, maybe you want the same image on each page. You don't have to have the same image on each page. If I go to page 1, you'll see that I have the option to change that image. I can change it to whatever it is that I want, just like I can on the home page. I can have each page different with a different heading, a different color scheme, not a different color scheme as far as the themes go, but a different heading, a different picture. And so that's good to know too, that I don't have to use the same image because, it's like, we want to make this our own and we want to customize it. So yes, there are ways of really customizing Google Sites. Okay. So now we know we can add images, we can add video, we can add buttons, we can add a carousel of pictures. we can add all kinds of things. But what happens when it's time to publish this and get it out on the web? I'm going to tell you that the URL that's at the top right now is not the one that you want. And even after you click the publish button, you need to get to the right one. Otherwise, you're going to send everybody, and it's happened to me a lot of times. And I just want to like knock my head in the wall when I do it because I forget. You want to make sure you get the correct URL, the correct web address to send out to either your students, whoever it is that you're going to have visit your page. Because if you send them the wrong one, this is what they will see. First, it might ask them to log into Google. And once they log into Google, if they have a Isleta account, this is what they will see. They will see your edit page, and then they will have access to edit and change your page the way they want to. And you don't want that to happen. So here's what we do.
So
First
Misha,
thing we need.
I have two quick questions for you. One question is, would you recommend one Google site for all your classes or a Google site for each class? And then the second question is, do you recommend linking your page to your Google Classroom or vice versa?
Both of those questions are very, very good. And I'm gonna give you the generic answer, and please don't throw tomatoes, but it's going to be your choice on how you want to do it. If it was me and this was my classroom and I'm a teacher, then I teach 4 or 5, I teach 9 different periods throughout the day. I think I would make a page for each one of my periods because I'm probably not going to need a whole lot of pages in each one of these, right? Because, and then I have a page here. This might be Algebra 1, period 1, and then I would have a page for Algebra 2 or whatever it is that I'm teaching. As far as linking it to Google Classroom, absolutely. I would definitely have a link to my page in my Google Classroom. And I'm going to show you how every page has a different URL. So I'm going to show that to you as well. So that way you could say, you know what, for my 8th period class, and I have a Google Classroom for, and it's my Algebra 2 class, I don't necessarily want them going to, my other classes. And see, that's where that navigation thing in here comes in handy, because I can take the navigation off of here and then they can't get to the other pages unless you want them to. But that's the way I have it set up on our digital citizenship. You can't get to other pages unless you click on a specific link. And I have it on purpose that way. So that way, certain pages are not accessible to. If I'm at Mission Valley, I can't see Ascarity's pages because I don't have a link for Mission Valley to see that, and they can't get to it. Only Ascarity gets that link. So I can do that with my pages here too. In my Google Classrooms, I can just put a link to this page, to page 2 for one of my classes, and I can put a link in my Google Classroom that's for this particular class, and I can put the link for this page, and that way they don't see this page, and vice versa, if that's what you want. Or you can have it open for everybody. I mean, the choice is yours, but I really like the fact that we can take the navigation off if needed. Now, how do we get the links? That's the important thing. So we're going to go up here to publish, push the blue button, publish, and it's going to say, okay, what's the name of this website? And I'm just going to put in here Practice Blended, because I don't know if it's being used or not, right? So I say Practice Blended. And right now, anybody who can see it, it's within YISD. I can change that to make it only specific users, but I wanted anybody in YISD. So I click Publish, and it's publishing. Okay, it's now published. And I know you can't see it up here at the very top, but the link did not change. It is still the edit link at the top. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble because I need the link to my page here. What do I do? I'm going to go over here where it says publish, and right next it says, there's a little disclosure arrow, and one of them says view published site. That's what you want. When you click view published site, and again, you can't see the URL because I know that part's cut off for you, but now it has changed. It is no longer giving me the edit URL. It actually says up here at the top, it says YISD practice blended page 1, because this is page 1. If I go to page 2, now it says page 2. So now I can highlight my oops, make sure I'm on the right page here. Here we go. Now I'm on this page. I'm on page 2, and now I can get the link for this page and give this to my students. And you see this little pencil down here? That means that it says, hey, you are allowed to edit it. Only you will see this pencil. Your students will not see it. Anybody who has view access to the site, who is seeing the published site, will not see it. It's showing this to me because I'm the one who created the site and I am the author of this site. So that's why I see it, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and go back into edit. So I can get back to the edit. So I can show you a couple more settings that you might want to look at, because we are down to 5 minutes already. Oh my gosh, this goes fast. And I know this was a lot in just a little bit of time. And we are looking to do a mini Monday session on on Google Sites at some point. Okay. All right. So it took me right straight back to page 2. I'm in the edit mode, right? And I can go to any of the pages that I want. I can go to them here, and I can also go to them here under pages, right? I can do that. Remember, 3 dots, always something awesome. So let's click in there and see what else is in here. I can see the version history. Maybe I did something to my page and I totally don't even know what I did, but something got really messed up. I can check the version history just like I can on a Google document or a Google slide or a Google sheet, and I can change it. I can put it back the way it was. Okay. I can duplicate the site if I want to. Really no need to, because you don't really need to do that. And then the rest of these you don't really need to focus on too much, but you can go back and change the version. I do that sometimes on some of my Google drawings, that when I'm making the icons for different things, I'll go back and I'll find one that I need to find in the version history. If I click on it, I'll just show it to you. And over here on the side, it's showing me that today on July 21st at 11:48, that was the last change that was made. And there's a little disclosure arrow. And when I click it, it's going to show me all of my versions. And as I click on them, it's going to take me back to that version, because this page wasn't even created then. Okay. So I'm going to go back up here. Okay. And what will happen, you'll get a button right here that says restore this version, if that's the one you want to go back to. And you click on it and it takes you back. Because one thing about Google is it remembers everything. So you can always go back, which is a good thing, because sometimes we make mistakes and we don't know how we made those mistakes. I know it happens to me all the time. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead to get out of the version history. You have to click on the arrow here. It'll take you back here. All right, so now I'm going to go here to the settings, just so you can see some of these settings, because these are new and a couple of these are really cool. All right, so we have the navigation, and you can either have the navigation at the top with the disclosure arrow, or we can have it along the side. Okay, and so here's now it's going to put the navigation along the side here for me. I can make the color of the navigation transparent, or I can make it black, and you're going to see that it put the black line there for the navigation navigation there, right? But this one's really, really, really cool. Let's look here at the announcement banner. So I can put an announcement banner that would run along the top of my web page. Okay, I can say show banner. Okay, the banner color, I'm going to make it a bright yellow because I want to make sure that it's seen. And I'm going to put the message warning. Okay. And I can actually put a link in there if I want to. And I can make it visible. All I did was scroll down. I can make it make it visible on the home page only, or all pages. I'm going to put it on all pages. Okay. And I'm going to actually go back into the navigation here. And I'm going to change the navigation to the top. And I'm going to change this to transparent again, just so I can see it a little bit better. Okay. All right. And look at that. There it is. So maybe if there's an assignment due, maybe there's something coming up about COVID that you need to talk to your kids about, you can actually make a banner and have it on all the pages so they see it, and they and you know, oh wow, what's this? What does this mean? It's a nice little feature. I'm really glad they added it. Is there any questions?
I just have one question in there that says, how do you take the navigation off? And that was the last question I've seen.
Okay. To take the navigation off, I'll show you one more time. So here's my navigation. It's there. I don't want it there anymore. So I go to pages, and then under page 1 or the home page or all of them, I just click on the 3 dots and hide from navigation. And now you see I have the home page and page 2. So I'm going to hide the navigation for page 2. You kind of have to do each individual. And now you see that the home page came off, because then there was only be one page, and there's no sense in having navigation for one page. So that's it. And now I'm kind of stuck on page 2 now. I can't, like, if I'm looking at this in the published view, I won't be able to go to the home page. I'm kind of stuck on page 2, but that's where you could add buttons with the links to get to the different pages if you don't want to have the navigation at the top. The choice is yours. Okay. And don't forget, when you publish, to make sure that you view published site before you get the link. Otherwise, you're going to give them the link and really mess up your page, and then the people will not be able to see what you actually want them to see on your web page.